right, welcome to another installment of the Fragments of Silicon Reviews. A hefty four-pack this week. The first of which is a game called The Longing. Although, calling this a game may not be the right word for it. Maybe more of an experience than a game. It's weird. The Longing is, if nothing else, one of the most unique experiences I've had with a video game in quite a long time. You know, the thing is, this is a very specific kind of game. That is to say, if it's another thing entirely, it's a patience simulator. So, The Longing is ostensibly a point-and-click adventure game where you play as a shade who is tasked to wake a sleeping king after 400 days. And when he wakes up, he will eliminate all longing in the world. The catch is those 400 days are mostly real time. I say mostly because there's some caveats, let's say, but, in general, it's in order to wake up the king, you've got to wait like more than a year to wake him up.
So what you're saying is you're not reviewing a full playthrough of the game.
It's literally impossible.
I'm kidding. I know.
No, it's like
you might be able to do it with aggressive clock skipping. Maybe.
Yeah, the thing is, this game has cloud saves. It's it's remote server, so you're not going to get around the time constraints by just a simple manipulation of your system clock. That's a thing you could do in, say, 2002 with Animal Crossing. Not so much with a modern game that gets the modern updates and shit. Now I say mostly real time, but there are some things that can fast forward time, like reading. Reading will fast forward time. Apparently having a nicer home base, let's call it, will speed up the time. And on the opposite end of the spectrum, if you find a place called the Chamber of Eternity, the clock will actually stop. I found the place, but I did not venture too far in because, well, I know what the word eternity means. It's like I'm not walking in a featureless white room for fucking ever. Like, not as a video game. The afterlife may be a different story. And the other big selling point, I guess, of this game is you don't even have to play it. That is to say, the time that passes will pass with or without you playing it. Like, you could just start up a game, wait the 400 days, and load it up, and wake up the king. Now, another thing about the time flow in this game is it's also not exact, because it's not just the waking up the king that's a timed event. Oh no. There are many places in this game where you are blocked off simply, and you've got to wait. And how long that takes, it depends. Like mining a crystal, that may take 15 minutes. Opening a door, that may take about 2 hours. A stalactite falling, a week. A hole filling up with water, a month. And all you can do is wait. So there are places where I could not go simply because not enough time had passed. See, this game builds itself as part adventure game, part idle simulator. You know, like it's a clicker game. Like, I guess it's got some of the mechanics of that, but in general, there's actually a lot more to do in a clicker game. It's just after a while you automate it. This is just actual waiting, like, and other things to do to pass the time. You find various stuff lying on the ground. You can set a fire in your cave. You can draw pictures. You can find more books. The books contained in this game, some of them are based off of actual works. Like, you can read the entire Moby Dick in this game if you want. I mean, it's the entire text. It's got that's got thus Spuyuk.
Thus spake Zarathustra. Sorry.
Yeah, it's like it's got Nietzsche in it, though. And it's
you might say it appeals to a Nietzsche audience.
Get the fuck out.
Anyway, and this game is big on exploring the cave, though another thing to keep in mind is your shade is fucking slow. Like, since this game is so much more about the journey than the destination. If you are easily frustrated about walk speeds that are generously described as shambling, this isn't going to be for you. He's also a bit sluggish to control. Like, if you click another way, he'll take a bit of time to turn, and it's just generally a very methodically paced game. And that's not gonna be to everybody's tastes. And as how I feel about this, well, here's the thing. I really can't do a full assessment of the game because, like, a big part of it, is literally a year down the road. Like, there's no getting around that. Nobody who's reviewed this has actually put in a full playthrough because that's impossible by design. It's certainly an interesting experiment. But your mileage is definitely going to vary here because, if you're looking for an adventure game that does adventure game things, this isn't it for the most part. It's like, there are puzzles in this game though. Like, in order to, like, the other way to end the game, as I understand it, is to defy the king and head to the upper world. You get out of the caves, you will enter the realm of sky or whatever. But that's a long way up, and like, one of the challenges is to, you will have to move in total darkness, and you have to figure out how to move in darkness and stuff like that, or you don't. Like, you don't have to do anything.
Can you wake him up early?
You can.
What does that do?
Like, nothing.
Alright.
Like, but yeah, outside, like, this is not a game that you necessarily are going to invest a lot of time in, like, in the sense of, because, like, even having events pass, you don't have to have the game open. Like, with the door being open, or any of the other time-based puzzles, you just have to wait. Like, So, like, when you're done exploring, you're probably just going to close the game and open it up for 5 minutes to see if the event you're waiting on has transpired. I know that's what happened to me with the stalactite um, bit. Now, I spent about 2 days waiting for that thing to fall until it finally actually fell. That's why I say the timing here is not an exact science. I guess outside of the 400 days, because there's an actual timer that keeps track of that. Like, you see it in the center. Um, and as far as the art style goes, it's interesting, um, but the actual aesthetics of the game are quite bland because, as it turns out, you're actually going through mostly a lot of brown and gray cave. Like, not all the time, but it's got a good art style. Its actual aesthetic is brown. It's caves. They look like caves, and they're about as interesting as caves can be in terms of general aesthetics. The music is, once again, interesting, very haunting music some of the time. Other times the music doesn't play because it limits, I guess. But it certainly fits the mood of the game, I would say. Like, and finally we get to pricing. So the longing clocks in at $14.99, if I'm remembering correctly. Yeah, here we go. Yeah, $14.99. I'm like, yeah, this is a hard sell. I'm gonna be honest. And honestly, this would be a hard sell at pretty much any price because you know um, this is an investment. Like, not so much the money part, but you've actually got to invest a block of time. It's not a big investment necessarily, but the idea here is you get this game, you're going to probably engage in it 400 days down the line. That seems to be the overall point. Some might say it's about the exploration or the meditations on time and life and loneliness. And to that I say those are optional. Like, you can get those out of this game if you want, or you can just have your shade sit around and read public domain works for 400 days. Now, it's definitely one of the most fascinating aspects of this game. The very optional, very modular amount of time investment that you can put into this game. But it's also like, if you're not into methodical pacing, if you want a conventional experience, this isn't that game. And this is a very experimental flavor. Like, I'd have to give out a very cautious recommendation. Like, this is, once again, if nothing else, a interesting experiment. I really never come across a game that's doing this specific thing, and coming across genuine innovation in the any industry is oftentimes remarkable. But on the flip side of the coin, a lot of this game is spent not doing anything. Like, you're literally waiting around for shit to happen. And, it's like, if you can, get into that kind of mindset, I'd say go for this. If you're someone who wants something faster, twitchier, or more gratifying instantly, there are many other examples in video gamedom. So this is a hard one to get my head around. But this is about the best I've come up with in the span of time that I've played it. Because, like I said, there was always going to be limits to what not just I, but what anyone can review with a game that has such a hard time limit set in there. And like even getting like the alternate ending or pathways, that has its own time investments. So, and that's really the key word here, investment of time. If you can do it, I would recommend this, but otherwise, mostly no, unless you're fine with, opening this game up for 5 minutes or whatever to check on things. And yeah, that's about it for the longing here. Be sure to tune in after the break, as Petty Fan will be reviewing a game called Project Starship for the PlayStation 4.